And we are live. Welcome back, everyone. Congratulations, you did it. You built this practice with your own two hands. You're seeing patients, you're managing the books, ordering the supplies, and you're the one answering the phones after hours. You successfully built yourself another job, but in the process, you've become the most overworked and underpaid employee. The single biggest thing standing between you and true business ownership is building a team. But for us NPs, especially those of us who, well, I actually like group projects, but for a lot of you, you hated group projects. You have trust issues over handing off your baby, your business, this thing that you've built with your own two hands. Hiring feels terrifying. So today we're going to dismantle that fear. We're going to give you the blueprint to stop being overwhelmed as a solo practitioner and start becoming the leader who attracts A+ talent. We'll cover 3 critical shifts that you can make: shifting your mindset from being a clinician to being a CEO, mastering the art of attraction, and building an unbreakable hiring and onboarding system. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctoral-prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of Mahogany Dermatology, Nursing Education and Research, where we're committed to increasing access to dermatology nursing education with a specific emphasis on skin of color, business acumen, and digital fluency. We do that through a couple ways. One is our new alliance of cosmetic nurse practitioners, a professional membership for those of you who want to have a business on the side or build your own empire. And just announced it since the last time we did some batch content day. I had a whole launch. We've been talking about it. This is my first time being able to see you since that. But the link is in the description box so you can learn more. What you can expect is it's an annual membership, and every week we'll go live and help you go step by step, holding your hand, offering that ongoing mentorship and coaching after you've done your on-demand program, your weekend training, or you've gone back to school for more formalized training. One thing we know for certain, whether you stay in practice or whether you go into business, you're going to continue to need support, and we're here to pick up where they leave off. So on this channel, which I've been doing over a year now, over 2 years on the Mahogany Dermatology blog, we offer free resources for you. Right now we have our newest playlist, which is Aesthetics for NPs and Entrepreneurs. You can go down there and catch up where we've been at. Since I saw you last, my book finally came out, Nursing Aesthetics. You can now find your copy at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's available in this beautiful paperback, or you can get your ebook version. And I emailed everyone who helped vote for the cover. If you didn't already check your email, you can go check it now. There's a special offer in there for you for your support and your confidence so early in the game. And then we have some marketing updates. If you follow me on Instagram, and you should, I've already showed these off. And I'm so happy with how they turned out. I'm big on marketing, big on sales. So now that you're seeing me, I've officially finished Your Biggest Lunch Ever with Jasmine Starr, which is was an accelerator in business sales coaching for entrepreneurs. And she did what we tell you to do: under promise and over deliver. She sold it as an 8-week program, but it ended up being 6 months. And we actually have lifetime access to everything except the community. And community is everything. I always tell you that's the number one thing I'm paying for. When I do all this coaching, at first you think you're being attracted to that person, the star, whoever the central person is. But the real value is having access to the community. You're one person trying to do everything for your business. But once you're in a room with 30 other people, 100 other people, 200 other people, now those other people know you exist. Automatically, those are other people who can help get your business out there. And so it's always about the community. That's the number one thing I'm concerned about. Because look, that one person, let's say it's Jasmine or Oprah, they're never going to remember all 200 of us. You're never going to have their phone number. But those other people, maybe I make connections with 5 of them or 7 of them. I'm going to talk to them all year long. We're going to maintain those ongoing relationships. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. I had some accountability partners that allowed me to do more in 30 days than I was able to do by myself. And some of us were still working together. And so you can find community. I tell you all the time, you can create that which you can't find. That's what we've done. And so here's some of my marketing. I did a story on this earlier this week on Instagram. This is from Sticker Mule. These are vinyl stickers. I already had a sticker from them that I've had over 3 years. Washed it, bleach, vinegar, sandy wipes, you name it. And it's still stand the test of time. And so I bought it. I bought my own. That was a pretty good review for me. This is a 3x3. And I got these to go on water bottles. And then I have these beautiful buttons, also the same. This is 1.5 by 1.5. And it does twist in the back. So that's nice. And so we'll see how these stand up for the test of time, but I love it. You can see it's really good. It's legible. And this was recommended by ChatGPT for a good size if you want someone to be able to wear it in a professional setting. So I really love that. I'm actually going to get some smaller ones, and I'm not even going to tell you what I'm going to use them for. All of our members will find out real soon what they're going to go towards. And so, yeah, so the stickers, this was a sample of 10, I want to say. Hold on, I actually have it. I have the information here for you because I can tell you. And then the buttons, that wasn't a sample. They didn't offer a sample. You just had to, so the 10, so it's 10 each, 10 buttons, 10 stickers. The buttons, $21, and the stickers, $9. And they came pretty fast. And actually they had really good reviews in terms of shipping. So 10 out of 10 recommend, and I'll keep you updated on how they go. So before we get into our show, we're going to do our prayer and then we'll get started. And actually, let me double check real quick to make sure you can see me and hear me. I do this every time. Okay, great. Okay, there we go. And if you're here, let me know in the comments where you're joining me from and where you are in your journey. Are you still in school? Are you in practice? Have you started building your business? Okay, here we go. Jesus, you know exactly what I need. You know where I'm suffering and hurting, and you are gentle with me. You want me to approach you and give you all my concerns. So here I am. I need you. I want you. Please carry these burdens with me and give me your rest in return. Amen. I see I'm not here alone. Hi. I can see you. Okay. Yeah, let's get into our topic here, because I'm going to try to do 4. Just to let you know, we're at the end of July almost, and if you've been following me for a while, you know every August I go on sabbatical. So we're going to do this batch content, and then I won't do another one until September. So I'll see you then. Okay, so let's talk about how you can attract the right talent for your med spa. So the reason we're doing this is because every day someone comes into one of those private Facebook pages and talks about how much they're struggling to find the right, first of all, how to attract talent. Now they have people and they're frustrated or upset that they're not performing. And then we have employees who also come in there talking about how frustrated they are that they're not getting the training they were promised, that the employer has these high expectations, even though they know they don't have any marketing or sales background. And especially when you get into the cosmetics or aesthetics business, that's kind of new, especially if all you've done is kind of traditional, the sick care model. You haven't really had to know anything about marketing or sales. And so when you step into this specialty, and if you spend all your time and money on just clinical training, how to take care of the patient, you don't really have any knowledge. And so that's what makes cosmetics very, very different. And while you might work for a hospital or another sick care model, they typically will invest in your training and ongoing education. But when you get into cosmetics and aesthetics, it becomes your responsibility. And if you're watching this video, you've already done your own Google search. You already know it's thousands of dollars for every training and for every skill. So you want to do Botox, that's $2,000. You want to learn filler at the beginner level, that's $2,000. You want to learn in the advanced level, another $2,000. You want to go to a conference, chemical peels, microneedling, lasers, money, money, money. And it's all coming out of your pocket. And someone mentioned just yesterday that they were hired and told or promised they were going to get ongoing training. And depending on who you work for, that may or may not become true. And it may or may not happen as fast as you think it is. So this person has been working for that franchise for over a year now, and they were concerned because they haven't been able to train on anything else. And so they're feeling kind of limited and bored. And then a lot of times, whether you work in cosmetics or a regular derm practice, it's going to limit how much money you can make, because certain procedures make more money. You know, that's just what it comes down to. And so if the person who's hired you isn't allowing you to advance, then your income is going to be capped. Just like if you work for someone else building their dream, your income is going to be capped because you're never going to make more than the person who owns the company. So the first thing we want to tackle is our mindset. Okay, most of us are high achieving, uh, perfectionists, right? We're in the business of not making mistakes. We literally get paid to avoid failure. But in business and entrepreneurship, it's part of the job, right? It's kind of the only way to figure out what works, And if we want something done right, we think we have to do it ourselves. This is a mindset that will keep your business from growing. You have to embrace the idea that someone's not going to do as good a job as you, right? But they might do it 85% as well. And there's a chance they might do it better than you, right? It's just like dating. You're afraid to date again because you think your heart's going to be broken. But what if you actually fall in love, right? So you have to have a more open mindset. That 15% difference is the price you pay for your own freedom. It requires understanding the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner, which I don't think a lot of us understand. And I mentioned, a lot of people get burned out. They get burned by their employer, or they just get frustrated with, having that income cap. Or they went back to school for another degree or another certification, and they didn't get compensated the way they assumed they were, right? They didn't even have a conversation with their employer on whether they would recognize that advanced education. They just went and did it in hoping that it would make a difference. So my number recommendation, if you think you want to go back and get something else and it's going to cost time and money, go talk to the person who you're hoping is going to give that to you. They'll tell you right now whether it's not they're going to compensate you. Doesn't mean someone else won't. So self-employed and business owner. So we get burnt out, burned, or frustrated, and we think the only solution is starting our own business, but then we don't understand business, right? We really have created our own job, which is what I described at the beginning. And so this is why I always recommend that book, The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. On the left side, most of us start there, employees and self-employed. Most of us are raised that way. And this is where you're trading your time for money, right? And so you leave that place and now you go become self-employed. You're working for yourself. But on the right side, that's why I want you to go. That's everything I'm teaching you and showing you. It's to get you on that side of the quadrant as a business owner and an investor, where you build systems that make money work for you. This is how you make money in your sleep. Your first hire is your first real step in the right side to the quadrant. It's a mindset shift from doing the work to building the machine that does the work and supporting those people. We have to stop thinking like transactional employees and start thinking like strategic leaders, right? Everyone who comes in the chat, I need a job, I need money, I need training, I need time off. Well, what are you going to be bringing to that team? And we have to think about the way we raise our children. We tell them you go to a good school, get a good degree. Supposedly that's going to give you a good job. Supposedly that's going to give you a good income, and supposedly that's going to give you a good life. But none of those things are guaranteed. But that's who we're hiring. We're hiring the person who's looking out for themselves. We're not hiring someone who's thinking, what can they offer and contribute? And then people will even question, what can they offer? Because so many people are focused on what they don't know, the experience they don't have. They're not even looking at the value that they're bringing to that team, despite what they still need to learn. So once you get your mind right, how do you actually attract and find amazing people? You don't find A+ talent, you attract it. And attraction starts with clarity. The first thing you want to be able to do is describe your business with passion and precision. And that's where social media or writing can be really helpful, because you get a chance to talk about it all the time. The first time you say it, it's not going to be the best time. By the time you say it 100 times, you've been able to refine it. You can say it without reading something, and other people are going to feel that confidence that you have. So you describe your business. What is the mission? What are the core values? When I worked for other people and they would go over all that stuff during like orientation, I really didn't care. And I really didn't understand why we had to go through it. I thought it was so boring. But now, as an employer, I think about it all the time. And I think if only they remembered the mission and the vision, I wouldn't be having the same conversation 10 times. And so that's when I recognize my job is really being the master communicator at the vision and supporting the people who are going to carry out the vision. That's my job, because I tell you all the time, nobody cares about your vision. They just care about putting food on their table. So even if they don't care about your vision, how can we set them up to be successful? It is possible. So once you understand your mission and values, a lot of that's for you. That's going to drive how you set up your team, what systems you put in place, and your goal. Look, Like I said, some people, they want $25,000 extra a month. They want to send their kids to a good school, have a nice vacation, maybe have a second home. Someone else, they might want 25 million a year. Two different goals, two different ways to get there, and both of them are completely okay. You just have to know where you're trying to go. If you really don't want to hire a team, if you really have trust issues and you can't imagine bringing someone else on, giving them access to your account, giving them keys, then you just have to set realistic goals on where your business is going to go, because it can only go so far if it depends completely on you. You can only do so much in 24 hours. So you've described your business, you put your mission and vision together, and I'm going to tell you my mission and vision at the core is the same. But maybe the wording and the messaging gets tweaked, especially when you pivot, like I have a couple times. But at the heart of it, we're still trying to get to the same objective. And when I get on calls, I have it right there on the split screen. Maybe I'm on a video call with someone on the other side, I have it. And by the time I've said that 10 or 20 times, I don't need it anymore, right? But in the beginning, set yourself up for success so that your messaging is consistent and that you don't leave out any parts that you think are important. This is really kind of you doing your pitch over and over and over. And so keep in mind that the best talent isn't just looking for a paycheck. They're looking to be part of a mission they believe in, because not everybody wants to own a business, right? It's a lot of fun. And of course, I'm here to advocate for it, but it's not for everyone. And there are definitely people out here who want to support your vision. They want to clock out at the end of the day. They want to go home and be with their family. They want to go home and live life. And they're looking for someone just like you and me who they can support. So let's set them up for success. And so you have to know, what are you going to need? What tasks do you need off your plate? And more importantly, what unique value can you offer them in exchange, right? This isn't just about salary. In today's world, what's going to make you stand out? Is it flexibility, unlimited? You have to know what's going on in the market, and especially if you're hiring nurses, because nurses are not just attracted to a specialty or a setting. We're attracted to quality of life. And we will leave this industry fast and in a hurry if we find out the post office, Google, the cruise ship, home health, United is offering a better life. Okay. And so there's companies out here now that are trying to compete with one another. And so they're offering unlimited PTO. Can you do that? They're allowing their employees to have off every other Friday or off early on a Friday. Childcare support, access to high value training. The best talent is attracted to the best opportunities, not just the best pay. List the unique benefits in your job announcements to attract talent that really stands out. You're going to have to stand out. And so when you go into the Facebook page and you ask other people what they're doing, if you mimic what they're doing, you're going to mimic the results they're getting, which is not standing out. And so, if you're finding any of this valuable and you're ready to stop being the bottleneck in your own business, do me a favor. I see you. Take 1 second and hit that subscribe button, and lets me know that I'm on the right track with this content and where you are in your journey, right? If you're here live, this is your chance to shape the way this conversation goes. But I can only do that when you communicate. Okay, so let's talk about the system, right? In the world of AI, a resume is not enough, right? And people will say all the time they can look and scan and see if your stuff has been used by AI. And there are a few little tips and things people can use, but other than that, you're going to have to go beyond that, right? Because everyone's going to use AI, and you probably want to see that they can use it well. So I don't know that I would even discriminate against that. You want to see them use it in action. So what's one thing we can do? We can borrow what's being done in bigger companies, right? Multiple interviews. It could be you, it could be someone else on your team, it could be staff you already have, right? Give them case studies to break down, ask them questions, have them walk you through how they would problem solve this. Give them some cases that you know they don't know the answer, but just see that they're going to ask the right questions and admit that they don't know the answer. Admit that their first priority is the patient's safety, not protecting their own pride, right? And so the case study, you really want to have them talk it out. This is where you can get beyond AI. It can be on video, and you want to be able to read both their verbal and nonverbal communication skills. These are areas maybe you can help them continue to hone. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't hire them, but this will just give you an idea of what their needs are going to be and how you can best show up and support them. And identify where to put them on your team. Yeah, maybe they applied and maybe you're interviewing for this clinical position, but maybe during this interview process, you find out that they have excellent skills in another part of your business. Reconsider that. We don't want to put people where they're passionate. We want to put them where they're really good at something. Okay, so you're going to go through the case study. some cases you actually see, patients you're actually treating in your demographic. That's going to be the most useful information for you. And test all of their skill sets, right? Ask for a writing sample, look at how they would write up their note, their progress note, assess their verbal, non-verbal communication, and call their references, right? A lot of us, I don't know if all of you guys are asking for references, but then call them, because again, people can make things up. And even then, they could still have their friend be on the other line. So you just got to do the best you can do with what's in your control. And ask the deep questions, the things that really concern you when it comes to being on time, communication, honesty, transparency, their safety, what they prioritize, what they value, how they spend their time outside of practice. Are they doing a million things? Are they building their own business? Are they back in school? Or do they have kids? Are they a single parent? Are they helping with their aging parents? So you have a really good understanding of how available they're going to be and their flexibility. So your hiring job isn't just done when they say yes. A world-class onboarding system is non-negotiable. I highly recommend that you invest in that. And if you're an entrepreneur, this is a great opportunity for you, right? This could be having something 30 days before hire, right? Some set of modules, some shadowing, some of these multiple interview processes, right? Having them spend time at the front desk, back with you, depending on all the different things that you do. You can have them in each of those kind of cases and given a case study in each situation, see how they're doing it. Because even the person that's interviewing, this is an opportunity for them too. They think they want this job. They think they want to work in this setting. This is a chance for them to see before they let go of the other job, change their whole schedule, invest time and money, if this is even everything they thought it was going to be. Spend doing that the first 30 days. And maybe you have recognized some skill sets that need to be more developed. You can use those 30 days to do that. Then you have the first 30 days. How should that go, right? Should they be paired up with someone else? What does that schedule look like? What resources are they going to be given access to? What should be the focus? So as I'm recording this, I spend the whole summer orienting new staff for the company I work for. And one of the biggest challenges I have is documentation. And so people come to me and they're most focused on caring for the patient, making sure they pick the right treatment and the right diagnosis. And 95% of the time, they do pick the right one. And then we spend a lot of time going over multiple alternatives because I tell them, look, there's so many things that you can do that are still going to be safe and appropriate for the patient. And the good news is, because of where we work, we'll see them again next week. So if within that time you learn something else that might be a better solution, you can just try it next week, right? And so by seeing that there's multiple ways to get to the same solution that are both safe, that should help with your confidence, because what are most of us afraid of? Doing the wrong thing, harming the patient. And you can see that actually there's multiple things that are both safe and appropriate, and you won't harm the patient. And so that's one thing I spent a lot of time doing. And then the documentation. Lots of work to be done there. And so when you're doing that first 30 days onboarding or those multiple interviews and those case studies, you'll see, okay, this is something that needs to be spent more time on. And every person who gets hired, maybe not everyone needs to go through the same thing. Maybe someone who's coming in with 30 years doesn't need to go through the same thing that someone who's coming in with just 3 months of experience, right? And so give them each what they need to support you, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone can take care of the patient. That is true. But it's these other skill sets that can be honed in and really help you grow your business and help them feel comfortable and want to stay. That's kind of the main thing here. And then how frequently are you going to do your evaluations? Don't just wait for the end of the year. You know, I don't know if I talk on this channel very much. One of my favorite books is the 12-week year. This really helps you change the way you look at goals. Instead of waiting 12 months to evaluate if a goal you set has been accomplished, let's look at, so every week is 1 month. So what can you do in 1 week, and then come back and check it. If it's working, keep doing it. If it's not working, let's make some tweaks and make some adjustments, put it in practice, come back next week, do the same thing, rinse and repeat. If you're in your DMP program or you're thinking about doing it, there are different types of projects. The most popular you're going to hear, just because of lack of knowledge, people don't know there's other things you can do, but quality improvement is a big one. I did evidence-based practice. There's policy. There's a whole bunch in my upcoming book, which has been on pause, Dermatology DMP Project Ideas. But in the meantime, since I've taken so long to get that one out, on the blog, I've been giving you ideas for your DMP project, as well as those of you who are getting into your PhD program. And in each of those articles, not only do we give ideas for your D&P project, PhD nurse-led research, but also entrepreneurs. We have one problem, and we're telling you how you can approach it in research and in business. Because I said, just because you take care of patients, it doesn't mean your business has to take care of patients. And I give you ideas all the time. So yeah, anyway, the next book to come out will be that D&P projects book. But in the meantime, you have the blog. In terms of onboarding, and this is where your entrepreneur comes in, it could be books that already exist, modules. You can put these modules together. So the company I work for, we do 30 days of onboarding before we even start. And that's kind of knowing the company and all your regular stuff, HIPAA, OSHA, the EMR, things like that. And then during the first 30 days, it's the actual taking care of the patient, the choices that we need to make when it comes to diagnosis and treatment and evaluation and complications, scope of practice, legalities, compliance, all those kind of things. And it's your business. You can do whatever you want. Maybe it's having them go to conference, making that kind of part of the job, and shadowing different providers who might be working there, different people on the team, so everyone knows the whole system. This is where you can create your SOPs or your standard operating procedures. So like most of us, we start as a team of one. But eventually you want someone else to come in and pick up where you left off. And so the easiest way, which is in that book, Systemology, is to just do videos. You can use your phone, upload it somewhere like Google Workspace, Microsoft, maybe your EMR has something, QR code, make it really, really easy for people to do. It's easier if you do it yourself. There's certainly some videos on YouTube that you might find helpful. Lots of hospitals have done that. If you store them on YouTube, you can just make it unlisted and make it easy access for your staff. And then there was another one I was going to say. Maybe it'll come back to me. And then you can use AI to draft out the written policy. So now you have it in multiple ways for easy access. And the first time you should be there with them, make sure they don't have any questions, because just because you think it sounds great, it doesn't mean someone else is going to think it sounds great. And feedback is always going to be golden. That's how you get better. That's how you make things more efficient and more helpful for everyone. And the time that you give, this is an investment that's going to pay you back tenfold. Okay. And so performance evaluations, this is for them and you, right? You want feedback too. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole today. Feedback is golden for both parties. Create a culture where regular structured feedback is normal. The best talent self-regulates, right? They're going to weed out people who aren't going to be a good fit. And then they're going to get feedback too. Use your current star employees to help train, shadow, and close the deal with new hires. A couple videos back, I told you how you can create, especially in this business, a lot of people are coming in to get their own experience so they can start their own business. And that's another fear that you have of hiring. You think they're going to steal everything that you've taught them and go become competition up the street. That's a real factor, but you don't want to let fear and anxiety drive the decisions that's going to hold your business back. So instead, turn it into ways that can benefit you, because we know when people move on to either another employer or their own business, they're still going to need that ongoing support. And you can be that ongoing support and get paid for that. Otherwise, they're just going to be in those Facebook pages anonymously asking for questions, hoping someone responds, not knowing who the people are that's responding, and not knowing if the information is credible or within scope of practice. And you've already invested time in them. They've already believed in your vision. You can continue to benefit mutually from an ongoing mentorship or coaching perspective, because you have insight into them as an employee and you have insight into business and being an employer. So regardless of where they go, you can help them. You can use them to help onboard your new staff and then incentivize that. So we've already gone over that in a couple of videos back. And so you can check out that playlist for aesthetic NPs and entrepreneurs where we did a deep dive. And so you're here. I see you. I want to hear from you in the comments. What is one task you're most afraid to delegate in your practice right now? Let's talk about it. Now, I don't have a problem delegating because I've been doing this for a long time. But when I was a new nurse, I did struggle with that because, look, you're new. Sometimes you're in your 20s, and the people you're delegating to have years of experience, both clinically and in life. And it can be, it's a journey. It takes a little balancing act. The first place to start is just having a relationship. and treating people like people. That's always going to be the first step you want to take. And then slowly and gradually move into that delegation role, earn the respect because they expect you to do that, right? But they don't want to, they still want to be treated like a person and respected for the knowledge they have, even if hierarchically their clinical role, is not as high as yours. Everyone still wants to be seen, heard, and respected. And so the key takeaway for today is that building a team isn't about losing control of your baby, right? Where do you want your baby to go? That's like the first question you need to ask. Do I want this to grow beyond my biggest imagination, or am I happy just having something that lasts as long as I'm interested? And then you just go from there, right? Everything that we're doing, regardless of the title, if you see me on screen, if you see something I've written online, the main theme is freedom, time freedom, and physical freedom, financial freedom, right? It's the only way to scale your impact, your income, and give you peace of mind. Now, if you feel confident about building your team, the next question is, what kind of business am I building? That's why you need to come back and check out the next video on how much experience do you need to start a cosmetic business. Literally yesterday, one of you asked me this. It's a question that pops up all the time, and you're going to get varying opinions on this, but that's what we're going to talk about next. So the perfect next step. And you can find it right here in the Aesthetic and NP Entrepreneurs playlist. And I think that's all I have. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you in a little bit.